Hello everybody, my name is Victor Santos and it is a great pleasure to be recording this presentation for my submission to teach at Verbling. I'm a PhD student in language teaching and learning, or what you might call applied linguistics right now, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this person who could be your new Portuguese teacher. I'm 32 years old. I have a bachelor's degree in linguistics. I have a master's degree in computational linguistics, your typical Google voice-to-speech kind of stuff. And I'm currently doing a PhD in applied linguistics and technology, which is concerned with theories of how people learn languages better, what kind of technology and tools speed up the learning process, and so on. So teaching languages is something that is very close to my heart, but also learning languages. Right now I'm able to speak 4 different languages: English, Brazilian Portuguese, which is my native language, French, and some Russian. I can also dabble a little bit in German because I've lived in Germany, Holland, I've lived in India, Israel, Brazil, the United States. So language learning has always been something that's been around me. I blog about language learning and it's something that I'm very passionate about. So having to go through learning all these languages and studying about language learning, writing blogs about blog posts about language learning, recording YouTube videos with techniques and tips on language learning, that gives me the ability to help students like you learn a language faster. I can give you techniques, I can give you tools that you could be using. Most importantly, I think that 3 things are very important for a teacher. One is that he or she be very patient. They have to wait for you to speak. They have to know how to give you guidance instead of just providing you the answer, and I believe I'm definitely able to do that because that's how I like it when people do to me in the languages I'm learning. The person has to have good methodology, and that's my whole background. And very importantly, they have to have deep knowledge of their subject. So being a native speaker of Portuguese and having learned English from a very young age, I'm sure I'm able to teach those languages very well. I taught English and Portuguese in Brazil for over 10 years, and I've also taught in the United States at the graduate level English to non-native speakers of English. So enough about me. Let's say you right there are interested in learning Brazilian Portuguese. Okay, there are some differences between Brazilian and European Portuguese, but let's say you decided to go for Brazilian Portuguese for some reason. A very nice place to start is, how do you identify words in that language? How do you know if a word is a verb, an adjective, a noun? Once you're able to spot that morphology, it's easier for you to process any sentence that will be given to you. So being able to see patterns together with going for high-frequency words first, that's something which is good. It's a good practice no matter what language you're going to learn. So let's say you are starting with Brazilian Portuguese, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about verbs in Portuguese. Let's look at a few verbs that we have here. We have the verbs gostar, to like, comer, to eat, amar, to love, correr, to run, ferir, to hurt, cair, to fall. Now take a few seconds and look at those Portuguese words. They're all verbs. What do you notice among those words? What kind of pattern do you see? Think about it. Great, you're very smart. So you can see that all of these words end with the consonant R. That is exactly how we create infinitive verbs in Portuguese, the basic form of the verb. It's similar to the to form in English, except that in English those words can end in pretty much anything. You look at like, it ends in an E. You look at run, it ends in an N. You look at fall, it ends with an F. So you don't really know it's a verb unless it's preceded by to. In Portuguese, our regularity comes from the fact they all end in R. But if you pay close attention, which I'm sure you did, you will notice that some of them end in AR, some in ER, and some in IR. AR is ach, ER, ich, and IR, ich. Okay? Gostar, comer, cair. So that's how it goes in terms of verbs in Portuguese. Now, verbs ending in AR are called first conjugation verbs. Verbs ending in ER, like comer, They are called second conjugation verbs, and verbs ending in IR, ferir, are third conjugation verbs. What does it mean to be a certain conjugation? Well, each one of those three types of verbs will have a different conjugational pattern, and it's important for you to memorize maybe one or two of each one, learn the pattern, and then next time you see another verb, you'll be able to do it on your own. So that reduces the cognitive load you have to go through. Shall we try it? Let's see. So here we have the conjugation for gostar, to like. The way we conjugate it is basically we remove the AR and we just keep the stem, gost, right? And if you want to say I like, eu gosto, you just add the letter O at the end for the first person singular. Please notice that even though we write with an O, we say u, eu gosto. If you say eu gosto, in Brazil, many people will think you talk a little bit funny. So Portuguese is not exactly the most phonetic language in the world, and I can definitely help you see how stuff maps to each other. I will teach you the language people actually use in the day-to-day instead of bookish Portuguese that won't get you very far. So I like, eu gosto, you like, he likes, she likes. All we have to do is remove the AR and add an A. So you like is você gosta, he, she likes, ele, ela gosta. Now, we like has two forms. There's one form which is more formal and literary, and this is nós gostamos. Nós means we. Gostamos, this ending MOS means us. So we like, or you could say a gente gosta. So you make this ending the same as you in the singular form, he and she in the singular form. So your life not only becomes easier in terms of learning the language, but also you speak the way people talk every day in Brazil. Not many people will use the formal form here. Now, you like plural is vocês gostam, and they like plural is eles gostam. So if you really pay attention and you want to speak like Brazilians usually speak, there's only three ways of conjugating the verb, three different endings. You have the one for the first person, gosto. You have this O at the end with an U sound. You have the A at the end, gosta, which can be used for you, he, she, and we, if you use the informal a gente. And you have the AM, vocês gostam, eles gostam, for you plural and they. Now, let's look at another verb, the verb to love. Now that you can see the pattern, I want you to be able to conjugate it. Let's take a look. How would you say I love? Very easy, right? We remove the AR and we add the O, but pronounce U. So instead of amar, we say amo. There you go. Very good. How would you say you like, he, she likes? Just add the A. Você, ele, ela ama. Excellent. How would you say we love? In the formal form, you would say nós amamos. There you go. Or you could say a gente ama. And then the third form, you guys, they love, would be vocês amam and eles amam. Very good. Now that you know these two verbs, they have exactly the same pattern. If you just memorize the pattern for your favorite verb, be it gostar, amar, or another one, next time you see another verb that ends in AR, and that's the most common pattern that we have in Portuguese, conjugation 1, you can decline those verbs. 90% of the time you will be correct. There are some exceptions, but when you start learning a language, it's good to see the patterns first, and that will get you very far. Don't worry about getting everything correct from the very beginning, okay? Next time, if you're interested in having classes with me, I'll teach you about the conjugational pattern of patterns 2 and 3, and we're going to do a bunch of exercises using words and verbs that you care about, because that's the most important thing in learning a language. Grande abraço, a big hug, muito obrigado, thank you very much, e até mais, and see you soon. Bye bye.